1,000 broken nights. Every ghost I chose to bury came back dressed in morning light. There's a room inside my chest I never dared to open wide, full of every lie I told myself just to stay alive. I memorized the exits, learned to smile before the storm. Wore the mask so long, I thought the mask was what I'd become. But the silence gets too heavy and the echoes get too loud, and the man I buried years ago is howling underground. But the wound won't close by hiding it away. The only way through the dark is straight through the flames. So I take the wound, I let it breathe, pull the old roots out from underneath. I don't run from what I used to be. I take the wound, and I finally see that the pain was never punishment. It was the door I never opened yet, the seed inside the burning ground. I take the wound, I dig it down. I've been wearing other people's shame like it was mine to own, building walls from borrowed failures, calling isolation home. Every time I numb the feeling, I was shrinking something real. Shadow work is not destruction, it's the terrifying art of learning how to feel. I went back to every chapter I had ripped out of the book, sat with every ugly moment I refused to let me look. And the monster in the basement wasn't monstrous after all, just a child who needed someone back against the wall. The wound won't close by hiding it away. The only way through the dark is straight through the flames. So I dig the wound, I let it breathe, pull the old roots out from underneath. I don't run from what I used to be. I dig the wound, and I finally see that the pain was never punishment. It was the door I never opened yet, the seed inside the burning ground. I dig the wound, I dig it down. I am not the worst thing I have done. I am not the battles left unwon. I am not the version that they broke. I am the fire that survived the smoke. I am the silence after all the noise. I am the man returning to his voice. So I dig the wound, I let it breathe, pull the old roots out from underneath. I don't fear the man I used to be. I dig the wound, and I am finally free. The pain was always pointing to the door, the seed inside the ground was always more than everything they told me I could be. I dig the wound, I dig it deep. I dig the wound, and I'm released. I see you, I know you. I am not afraid of you anymore. 5 a.m. and the cold bites to the bone. Every sane man still asleep, I'm here alone. Made a promise to this body that I'll keep every rep a revolution, mine to reap. The bar is cold, the chalk is on my hands. I built this altar long before I had a plan. The past lives in my posture, in my jaw, and the way I used to flinch without a cause. But I'm rewriting it line by line, plate by plate. This body isn't punishment, it's fate. This isn't pain, this is prayer. This temple I'm forging rep by rep, I swear. At the iron altar I confess every weakness, every mess. The bar comes down and my soul gets tested. Nothing wasted, everything invested. At the iron altar I am reborn. Sweat on the floor, every limit torn. Building the man that the fire forged. At the iron altar I am restored. Iron, 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 am restored. They see the muscle, they don't see the work. The 4 a.m. sessions, the discipline that hurt. They don't see the therapy inside these sets. The excavating every single old regret. I train the shame out of my nervous system. I run until the demons stop their rhythm. I lift the weight of everything I carried and bury what I don't need in the iron. This isn't pain, this is prayer. This temple I'm forging rep by rep, I swear. At the iron altar I confess every weakness, every mess. The bar comes down and my soul gets tested. Nothing wasted, everything invested. At the iron altar I am reborn. Sweat on the floor, every limit torn. Building the man that the fire forged. At the iron altar I am restored. One more rep for every time they said I couldn't. One more set for every time I said I wouldn't. One more mile for every doubt that tried to break me. One more day for the version that they couldn't take from me. Now I do, now I rise, now I own this weight. Every single scar becomes the iron gate. At the iron altar I confess every weakness, every mess. The bar comes down and my soul gets tested. Nothing wasted, everything invested. At the iron altar I am reborn. Sweat on the floor, every limit torn. Building the man the fire could not kill. At the iron altar I am steel. Iron altar. Monday I fight the voice that says I'm not enough. Tuesday I live through everything that made me rough. Wednesday I sit in silence long enough to hear all the things I've been avoiding for the better part of a year. Thursday I write it down, every lie I've been sold. Friday I put the phone away and let the real stuff unfold. Weekend's not a break from who I'm trying to become. It's more deliberate than any version I've come from. The work never stops, the mirror never lies. Every day you choose the man you wanna be inside. The work never stops, no shortcuts, no disguise. The work never stops, and that's exactly why I rise. I journal what I'm ashamed of, I expose it to the light. I run until the demon in my chest runs out of fight. I don't perform recovery for an audience to see. This is private, this is daily, this is just between me and me. Went back to every version of myself I used to hate. Sat with every cringe-worthy, regrettable mistake. Didn't fix it overnight, it took years of showing up, of choosing discomfort over staying comfortable and stuck. The work never stops, the mirror never lies. Every day you choose the man you wanna be inside. The work never stops, no shortcuts, no disguise. The work never stops, and that's exactly why I ride. People see the muscle and they think it's about the weight. They don't see the therapy, the sleep, the soul I excavate. Don't see the morning when I almost chose the bed over the floor. The hour that I wrote out what I thought I couldn't face anymore. They see the output, they don't see the process. They see the calm, they don't see me process. Every rep is shadow work in physical form. Every mile I run, I'm out running the storm. I'm not training to impress, I'm training to become the kind of man that I can finally look up from. Let me be honest, there are days I want to quit. Days the progress feels invisible, the discipline feels lit. But the man I was a year ago wouldn't believe this view. So I keep doing the work, because the work is what is true. The work never stops, the mirror never lies. Every day you choose the man you wanna be inside. The work never stops, no shortcuts, no disguise. The work never stops, and I am never done. But every scar I carry now is evidence of what I've learned. The work never stops, and that's the point. That's the whole damn point. Show up every day, not for applause, for yourself. That's the work. That's always been the work. Shadow lives beneath the skin, where the story no one tells begins. A wound I kept below the floor, a door I swore I'd never open more. But I can feel it in the iron's weight, the reckoning I can no longer escape. What you forge in darkness, you carry in daylight. What you face alone, you stop fearing at night. Stop numbing what is real with noise. I stop replacing silence with the wrong choice. Every rep is a confrontation with the truth that needed excavation. Shadow and iron, the forge and the fire. Shadow and iron, I rise from the mire. I face what I fear in the dead of the night. I lift what is heavy to step into light. Shadow and iron, make everything pure. Shadow and iron, the only cure for a man who's been hiding too long. Shadow and iron. the song. I went into the dark and I stayed long enough to hear the thing beneath the tough, long enough to ask why I armored up so young, long enough to feel the grief I had never sung. Not a monster living under there, just a child who needed witness, needing air. And when I gave it finally space to breathe, the iron in my hands felt light beneath. I stopped numbing what is real with noise. I stopped replacing silence with the wrong choice. Every rep is a confrontation, shadow work inside the iron station. Shadow and iron, the forge and the fire. Shadow and iron, I rise from the mire. I face what I fear in the dead of the night. I lift what is heavy to step into light. Shadow and iron, make everything pure. Shadow and iron, the ancient cure for the man who is hidden too long. Shadow and iron, now I am strong. The shadow doesn't disappear, you just learn to let it walk beside you. Not a monster, not an enemy, just the part of you that needed witnessing. When you look it in the eye without flinching, that's when transformation stops being theoretical. Shadow and iron. Sides ignite.
I used to feed it every single morning, set a plate for every old mistake, kept the ghost alive inside my story, like its hunger was a debt I had to pay. I gave my best years to a closed up chapter. I replayed the scene till it became my truth. Thought if I could just explain the disaster, maybe somehow I could change what I went through. But hunger only grows the more you feed it. I've been the one who keeps it breathing, and I'm done. I'm finally done.
Let the past starve.
Stop throwing in your heart. Let it fade, let it fall apart. You can mourn it without living there.
Let the past starve.
It can't follow where you are if you stop giving it power.
Let the past starve.
Let the past start. I have grieved every version that I buried, every dream I kept postponed in fear, every exit that I called a shortcut, every word I should have said but couldn't hear. But the grief was never meant to be the dwelling, it was always just the gate between the old self and the one worth let it go, let it go, let it go. Thank you, I forgive you, goodbye.
I've been living by the map that someone else drew for me. Every road I took by habit, every borrowed identity. I performed the role so perfectly, I started to believe that the character I played was all that I would ever be. But something broke the spell at 2 a.m. on a Tuesday night, when the silence got so honest that I couldn't kill the light. I stood up in the middle of the life I didn't choose and burned the old coordinates. I had nothing left to lose. Not running away, I'm running toward. Not lost anymore, I finally found my north. Not starting over, building on the ground of everything that broke me into what I found. New coordinates, new sky above me, new chapter, no old story to judge me. I plant my flag in the ground of who I'm becoming. New coordinates, and now I'm running, not from ghost but toward a sunrise, built from every no I turn to rise. New coordinates, the future's breathing, and for the first time in my life I believe it. New coordinates. I designed the life I want in detail, wrote it down with open eyes. Not a fantasy, a blueprint with a timeline and a why. Not waiting for the perfect moment to begin the work. Not performing for permission and not hiding in the hurt. I know the kind of man I want to stand behind the mirror. Every year the fog is thinned and now the signal's getting clearer. I am not the same as what I was, that's not a loss to mourn. That's the whole damn point of everything I've been becoming since I was told. Not running away, I'm running toward. Not lost anymore, I finally found my north. Not starting over, building on what's real. Everything I've lost taught me how to feel. New coordinates, new sky above me, new chapter, no old story to judge me. I plant my flag in the ground of who I'm becoming. New coordinates, and now I'm running, not from ghosts but toward a sunrise, built from every no I turn to rise. New coordinates, the future's breathing, and for the first time in my life I believe it. New coordinates. I am the author and the architect. I am the engine and the intellect. I am the one who chose to stay. I am the one who chose today. And I am just at the beginning. New coordinates, the whole horizon. New version and this one's rising. I plant my flag in who I'm choosing to be. New coordinates, finally free. I'm from ghost but toward a sunrise, built from every scar I've turned to pride. New coordinates, the future's real now, and I've never been so alive. New coordinates. New coordinates. can trace the map of everything that tried to end me. Every fault line in my skin where life had to bend me. They say the body keeps the score, and mine has kept it well. Every chapter that I couldn't close, my body learned to tell. But the bone that breaks and heals grows stronger at the fracture. And the man who goes through fire walks out with something after. I didn't choose the story, but I chose what I would do. With every single scar that time and pain had tattooed through. Scar tissue strong, that's what I've become. Every wound that took so long made me someone. Scar tissue strong, the body never forgets, but it learns to carry on. That's where the power gets. Scar tissue strong, I wear it without shame. Every mark upon the skin has got a name, and every name's a battle that I stay for. Scar tissue strong, I'm what the fire made more. In the weight room with my demons, in the mirror with my reasons, I stopped hiding from the shadow with the changing of the seasons. I stopped calling pain my weakness, started calling in my teacher. Every breakdown that I walked through made the version of me deeper. This body that I punished has forgiven every session. This body that I hated taught me every single lesson. Not about perfection or the shape that others see, but about the quiet warrior who lives inside of me. Scar tissue strong, that's what I've become. Every wound that took so long made me someone. Scar tissue strong, the body never forgets, but it learns to carry on. That's where the power gets. I'm not proud of everything that made me, but I'm proud of everything that couldn't break. I'm not grateful for the pain that shaped me, but I'm grateful for the choice I had to make. To stay when leaving was the easier option, to fight when surrender was the loudest voice, to rise when lying down was what they offered. I made the only life-affirming choice, and now I wear these years like battle armor. And now I meet the morning without fear. The scars are not a sentence, they're a story, and the story that they tell is I am here. Scar tissue strong, I wouldn't trade this skin. Every battle that I lost made me begin again. Scar tissue strong, not in spite of what I've been, but because of every scar I'm finally seeing. Scar tissue strong. Scar tissue strong. Scar tissue strong.
I used to wear my history like a sentence on my chest, like the things that broke me young were proof I couldn't pass the test. Every room I walked into, I made myself feel small, convinced the version I had built was the only thing at all. But something cracked inside the fracture, let the light come rushing in, and I looked at all that rubble, and I said, this isn't the end. I picked up every piece that still had something worth keeping, and I looked carry every single lesson, but I'm not carrying the weight no more.
Version 2.
I am the edit, not the draft.
Version 2.
I've learned to finally do the math. I take the best of what the fire left behind, and I build it better, clean, no more alive.
Version 2.
I don't delete the past, I just stop letting it decide the cast.
Version 2.
Same soul but open wide. I am version 2, and I have arrived. Showing up before I'm ready, learning that's the only way. Breathing even when it's heavy, choosing presence over the fray. Every morning is a canvas and I finally hold the brush. Not perfection, just momentum, not a sprint but not a rush. I forgive version 1 for doing what he could with what he had, with what he knew, with what he understood. Now I pass the torch internally, I take the hand he's offering, and I build upon the foundation of his suffering. Reversing where I came from, I'm just deciding where I go. I carry every single lesson, but I'm not carrying the weight.
Version 2.
I am the edit, not the draft.
Version 2.
I finally learned to do the math. Version 2, the fire couldn't end me. Version 2, it only served to mend me. I take the best of what the storm left at my feet, and I rise with it and make myself complete. Version 2, same soul but open wide. I am version 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, in full stride. I forgive version 1 for surviving the only way he knew how. I forgive him for the armor, for the distance, for the walls. Now I pass the torch. Version 2 has entered the building.
Version 2.
I am the edit, not the draft.
Version 2.
I've learned to finally do the math. I take the best of what the fire left behind, and I build it better, clean, no more alive. Not finished, never done, but every single day I become someone. Same soul but open wide. I am version 2.
Version 2.
There's one last ghost I haven't named, one last corner I've been too afraid to claim. It follows me through crowds and quiet halls. It shows up when the last defense finally falls. I face the others, one by slow one, but this one I kept telling myself I could outrun. It wears the face of someone I once knew. It has my voice at 7, scared and confused. I've been running from the smallest version of myself, the one who needed love and only found the shelf when no one placed him. So we learned to disappear, but he followed me through every single year. One last ghost, I turn around. who needed more than what they gave you at that early kitchen floor. And I have punished both of us for years for not surviving better than we did through all those fears. But here's the truth I finally came to tell: you did enough, you kept me from the edge of hell. You did the only things you knew to do, and every scar you gave me, I gave them to you. I've been running from the smallest part of me, who only ever wanted to be seen and free. So here I am, I see you finally completely. Here I am, I love you, this is me. One last ghost, I turn around. No more running on sacred ground. I hear everything you came to say, and for the first time I don't look away. One last ghost, I hold you close. You were just a child who needed most the love I never gave you back then. One last ghost, now breathe again. One last ghost, we're home. I release the shame that isn't mine. I return the weight to where it fell. I rewrite the very last line of the story I've been living in. This is not a collapse. This is a clearing. This is not the end. This is the healing. Hands open, heart appearing. One last ghost, and I am finally here. And I am finally here.
I remember the man who couldn't look himself in the eye, who shrank in every room and swallowed every why, who wore exhaustion like a virtue, called his emptiness strength, who measured out his worth in others' hands at arm's length. I remember the sleepless nights I spent hating what I saw, the broken promises to change, the silence, the withdrawal. I remember choosing numb above the terrifying real. I remember every year I spent refusing how to feel. I remember him and I carry him with me. I honor where he stood, I honor what he couldn't see. But I am not him anymore, and I never will be again. Built different now, I came back from the edge. Built different now, I kept every single pledge to the version of myself who needed someone to believe. I became that someone, now I'm finally free. Built different now, the body and the soul. Built different now, the wound became the whole. Every rep, every journal page, every night I chose to stay. Built different now, I earned this day. I don't hate the man who started this, I'm grateful for his fire, for every crack that let me in, for every failed desire. Because the cracks were where I entered in, that's where the light could live. And I rebuilt with everything that breaking had to give. I know the kind of man I wanna be when no one's watching. I know the voice I wanna hear inside God when morning's knocking. I know the body I'm constructing and the mind I'm tending, and I know this isn't finished, that's the whole beginning. I remember him and I carry him forward. I honor every scar, I honor every word. He said to keep me here, alive, to fight, built different now. To believe I became that someone, now I'm finally free. Built different now. The body and the soul. Built different now. The who became the whole. Every rep, every journal page, every night I chose to stay. Built different now, I earned this day. I'm not finished. I will never be finished. But I am unrecognizable compared to what I used to see in that mirror. And the distance between then and now is made of daily choices, of unspoken vows. To myself, to my body, to my mind, I carry in my love.